Get ready to meet one of Hong Kong's most enduring pop culture icons in a movie filled with attempted suicides, animal abuse, stalking women, and surprise Hitlers.
The is this?
Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and however else you wish to self-identify to the is this? The podcast on the internet that's about weird movies, but unlike those other
podcasts
about weird movies, what makes this one different is that this one is hosted by two people that you've never heard of before.
Yes.
I'm your host, some asshole, and with me always is my co-host, the other guy.
Hey everyone, I'm the other guy.
Yeah. How's it going? No, I'm Cass Lasgard. This is Jameson Raptor.
Hey guys.
How you doing, Jameson? How you doing today?
I'm a little beat these days. We're in the middle of crunch time for our game project, so I've been working long hours trying to get our deadlines all met and everything, and it's getting done. Come hell or high water.
Yeah, I imagine it always has to.
It does. Yeah. And I'm really happy that I'm working with such a good team, and I still really enjoy what I'm doing. But man, these last couple of days have just been very high pressure, I would say.
Yeah, I can't say I can really relate. I don't think I've had the type of job that you have within the video games industry. Mm-hmm. I understand the concept of crunch time. But,
it's sometimes it's just like a necessary evil. Other times it's like, oh man, I wish we kind of planned for this ahead, but whatever. It's the nature of the business.
Yeah, you definitely look a little haggard. I do want to say you are boasting a sweet Movember stash.
Hell yeah, Movember doesn't care for my workload. It's got
Movember cares for no man.
I gotta grow that mustache. I've actually raised some money for that.
That's great.
Yeah, I've done this in the past. People tell me that I grow a righteous stash. Actually, once some old guy, as I was walking down the street a couple of years ago, saw me sporting the mustache, and he goes, "Right on, brother." And I was like, "All right, I must be doing something right."
You got the type of facial hair that it looks like that guy was your future self.
Yes,
you are the type of dude who will see another dude on the street with a mustache and go, "Right on, brother." Yeah, but in 10 years from now.
It feels like I've traveled through time from the 70s. Sometimes I catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror, and plus I'm wearing a Rush t-shirt right now. I am really looking the part.
It definitely completes the ensemble.
Exactly. But work's been interesting these last couple of days. As I was leaving to come do this podcast.
Right.
So I'm, cutting up our sound files. I have just a lot of people waiting on me to get the work done. I'm feverishly trying to get everything as prim and proper as I absolutely can. There's a big workload to do. Not sign off on everything, but just as I was about to do one big last submission that would kind of cap off my day.
Sure.
Knock on my door of the office, and it's our very sweet office manager, and she says, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She said, "Well, do you remember the painters are coming around and they're going to be doing all the offices, and we're going to start with yours." And I was like, done. That was a little over the waterfall for me. So I wrapped everything pretty quickly, and then just moved my desk away from the wall and hauled a bunch of stuff out of there.
I mean, I'm not in the biz, but it seems to me in the middle of crunch time trying to get a game out for the release date for the holiday season, maybe schedule the painters after all of that.
I agree, and that's what I did when she asked me last week. Yeah. if it was okay to pay my office. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you just weren't thinking about it?
Yeah.
That's a problem for next week's Jameson.
Yeah, I had that has kind of been the theme of the last couple of weeks. That's a future Jameson problem. Past Jameson sucks.
Well, speaking of themes, or theme music, as it were, how's that for a segue?
Ooh.
I'm getting very good at that. We got just enough time before our guest arrives to do our only reoccurring segment. Probably should have mentioned that.
Probably should have mentioned that,
I love that song. It's that I won't be more proud or less proud of anything I've ever accomplished in my life than that.
You probably could have mentioned that song. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
An accomplished actor of film and stage, and
thank you. I've always wanted to be called accomplished. This is the segment where we go back over the movies that we've done episodes on this show before, and we point out all the stuff that we got wrong and all the shit that we just missed entirely. So I want to take us back. Last week's movie, Long Shot. The infamous Long Shot. So
why do you say last week? Is then like we're going to have like a weekly upload?
Oh yeah,
schedule?
no, we totally keep
like,
to
fuck
that.
you,
Yeah.
I'm working hard enough as it is.
Yes, back to back. Anyway, I'm getting off track here. Something that we were making fun of in that movie is we were making fun of those compact discs.
Yes.
That were in weird shapes, and we were saying there's no possible way those could ever play. Turns out those are absolutely a thing.
Are you serious?
Those are totally a thing. They are called shaped compact discs. They are usually made for marketing purposes, and they contain less data than regular discs do. Examples include business cards, they're in the shape of a star, a map of a country, is what Wikipedia tells. That seems like that's a very complicated
That
thing
seems
to have.
odd, yeah.
Yeah, that was one thing that we made fun of. It turns out it was real. Speaking of discs, so you know how we watched Long Shot in 10-minute segments on YouTube, and the sound wasn't great, and
thank you, Fane 8. Yes, I'm well aware.
Overall, that was a very shitty way of watching this movie. Could have been much worse. We could have watched it on UMD on the PSP.
Oh, it's available on the PSP, isn't it now?
The PSP had like a library of maybe like 80 movies
Do
on
people
it.
even remember the PSP? Like, it kind of like had like 2 years of shelf life, and
80 movies available on the PSP.
And that's one of them.
Long Shot was one of them. I couldn't find.
One thing I kind of wanted to bring up about those, just like very quickly.
Yeah.
Was now that I know that like yes, that was like a standard practice, like you would make oddities. Like still, the universal format for disk drives is circular.
Yes.
So like, how the fuck are those supposed to work anyways?
I guess they just had less shit on them.
I guess so.
I think it's just because like it's like, okay, we're gonna make like this disc, but it's also gonna be my business card. Okay, it will just have that information on it.
Okay, because I just imagine trying to cram a hockey card or whatever into like your laptop disk drive and like, oh shit, it's not working. What the fuck's going on? What the fuck do you think is going wrong?
It immediately gets jammed because it's square. It's a rectangle, not something you should put in a disc
peg
drive.
into a round hole.
Yeah. And the last thing that I want to mention, probably should have mentioned that this is a recent, probably should have mentioned that update, as in like 20 minutes ago, we've discovered the identity of that dude in the pizza parlor.
Oh yeah, the guy with the mesh shirt.
The guy with the mesh shirt. He is Brad Fischetti of LFO. The band that did that Abercrombie and Fitch, Chinese Food Makes Me Sick song. Yes, I figured that he was probably...
Doesn't ring a bell, but alright.
You never heard that song?
Maybe, I don't remember
About the Chinese food making them sick and...
Chicken to China, the Chinese chicken, you have a drumstick and your brain stops sticking. Watch X-Files with no lights on. Down the Maison. I hope the Smoky Man's in this one. Fuck! I got the order mixed up.
That's better than I could have done. So yeah, we've identified who that is. So thank you, Andy Sandberg, for letting me know who that is. Not Andy Samberg.
Oh, Sandberg.
Sandberg, my friend, and not...
Wow,
yes.
one letter difference.
Yes, the
that
star,
close to fame.
The star of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Let us know. He's a big LFO fan.
Yeah,
yes.
Far Brooklyn 97, like the less popular offshoot.
Still no word as to who that little girl he was with was. Though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the mystery continues.
Yeah.
Alright, well, through the magic of editing, our guest is here. He is an actor. I met him while I was doing dinner theater in Edmonton. He recently moved out here to the West Coast, and I'm glad that he did, because I forgot how much I missed him. Please welcome Omer Aubin to the show. Welcome, Omer.
Thanks for having me, Kaz.
You're welcome, buddy. Oh, this is just a positive podcast. It's full of positivity and good vibes.
I wish I was dead. I've been working so hard lately.
So yeah, Omer, on this show we watch crazy, stupid, weird, bizarre movies that nobody knows where they came from or who produced them. What are some of the weirdest films you have ever seen?
Definitely Teeth is pretty bizarre.
Oh god, I've heard of Teeth.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that yet.
Jesus, yeah.
That left some marks.
For those of you who don't know, Teeth is a movie about a young woman who is blossoming into puberty and gets vagina detentia, I believe is what it's called. Pussy teeth. Yes.
Love it when you speak Latin to me.
Yeah, that's...
Pussy teeth?
It sounds so poetic when you say it.
That was my prison nickname.
Oh god.
Don't ask. Yeah. Well, today's movie, we're gonna break from the format a little bit. We like to have like a little bit of an emphasis on this show surrounding, familiar actors in unfamiliar roles. Today's movie isn't going to be like that. In fact, as 3 white, male-identifying North American men, we probably don't have any right to be talking about this movie whatsoever, because today...
Nothing gives us the right to talk about any kind of movie.
That's true.
We're a couple of jackasses, screaming into the void.
We have no right. It's just our choice to
Nothing in our lives qualifies us to host like a film review podcast.
That's true. That's true. But we're extra unqualified to talk about today's movie, because today on the show we're going to be doing our first foreign film.
Magnifique.
The reason we're doing this movie is because I went to my local video rental store. Shout out to Black Dog Video. Yes, Vancouver does in fact have a video rental store still. They also have an amazing podcast. You should listen to the Black Dog Podcast.
It's a great store. I go there fairly often. Well, I don't go there often, but every time I'm sort of like in the kids' neighborhood, I'll pop in there and I'll give them some business.
Black Dog Video, 2 locations in Vancouver. Check them out. That's our plug. Burp, burp, burp.
Send us money.
But they like to get rid of their useless stock sometimes. They'll just put like a cardboard box outside with pay us a loony for this. And I saw today's movie in there, and I definitely had a what the fuck is this type of experience? But the reason I wanted to do this movie comes from when I read the back cover of the DVD. So today's movie is called Master Q 2001.
Okay.
Now, while I let that title rattle around in your heads and you think to yourself, what is a Master Q and how are there 2,000 of them? Before we go into that, what I'd like to do is I'd like to take a minute and I'd like to read the back cover of the DVD because it's amazing and it's the reason why I paid $1 for this DVD. Before I show you the front cover and you get an idea of what Master Q 2001 is, I want to read the back cover of the DVD. Keep in mind, I did not change or alter any of this. This is verbatim the back cover of this DVD.
So excited right now.
It's pretty long, but once I begin, I think you'll realize immediately why I need to read the entire thing. Okay, cool. Master Q and Potato failed the job interview.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. Potato a character?
We're just
okay, yeah, alright, I won't interrupt you.
You interrupt me, we'll be here. That is literally the first sentence. If you interrupt me, we'll be here all night.
I'm sorry, continue.
Master Q and Potato failed the job interview in a school. Then they go to find Wong for revenge. But Wong has already retired, so he gives Master Q a secret pouch. Feng is a CID. He is in love with Miss Chung, but Chung's mother, the district counselor, is against it. Uncle Cam, in brackets, a celebrity, believes in some crooks that Feng is going to be the head of the police force in the future. Cam wants to bribe him under his wing for business in the future. Master Q and Potato carelessly knock over Feng and Miss Chung and they lose their memory. Cam takes this chance to bring Feng to his place and take him in as an adopted son. Master Q and Potato keep Miss Chung in the office, then go for a job interview in the school again. One joke leads to another is hyphenated. Master Q and Potato become friends with Feng after that Feng stalks Miss Chung, everybody. But Chung can't remember a thing, so she refuses Feng and tells him to leave her alone. Feng finds the keys of Chung's boyfriend and asks his people to tell Miss Chung her boyfriend's address.
Is this all part of like the first 10 minutes of the movie?
We're almost done.
Okay, alright.
This is my favorite sentence coming up. Feng and Cam come to the harbor to kill Xing.
So many characters.
Oh, God, don't you remember Xing? Everyone's favorite character that we've totally established.
Wait, go back.
Who
Who is Xing?
Is this the third starch?
No, yeah. Yeah, what was that? On the other hand, Master Q, Potato, and Miss Chung come to help Feng. Feng and Chung recover their memory during the chaos, and then there are 7 periods.
Good Lord. I mean, that feels like a book report that a guy stopped reading for 2 years and tried to pick up. Wait, who was that? Who's this character? I call him Potato because I can't remember his name.
Obviously, a bit of translation issues, but
yes.
Here we go. Here is Master Q 2001.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Ah.
You can see now why I was instantly curious as to what this was doing in the park and bin, and I had to have it.
Well,
I had to have it.
now I need to know, like, who among those people, like, who's an animated character, who's, like, a real person.
All right, so for those of you at home, so the DVD cover has a mix of live action and computer generated characters. I think the question everyone's asking is, what the hell is Master Q, right?
Yeah.
Well, I have notes.
Ah,
I
excellent.
have many notes. Master Q, also primarily known as Old Master Q, is a popular long-running Hong Kong comic strip, or manhwa, created by Alfonso Wong in 1962. When it debuted, Hong Kong was still under British rule, and it was very influential in a way few comics were at the time. Voiced opinions about subjects like integration with mainlanders, the education gap at the time, when comics were avoiding controversial subjects. The strip is still in publication today. It's now under the guidance of Wong's son, Joseph Wong Chak. The comic is about the three characters that you see here. Old Master Q, or Lao Fu-ji, is a elderly, lanky man dressed in distinctive Chinese attire, and his two sidekicks, Big Potato, who's a...
I can kind of tell who that one's going to be.
He's a smaller, food-obsessed, big-headed version of Master Q, and Mr. Chin, who's sort of an everyman, regular Joe...
The straight man?
Sort of guy,
Okay.
kind of. The comic portrays the three characters in a variety of social statuses, professions, and time periods, ranging from beggars, office workers, actors, and ancient warriors.
So they like the Three Stooges?
Three Stooges, also, kind of similar to like Porky Pig or Goofy or something like that. As time went on, they'd find themselves in more outlandish scenarios. They met aliens and ghosts and explored the concept of the afterlife. While it was primarily a humorous comic, it also reflected social trends of the times. It poked fun at urban life, fashion, contemporary art, and rock music. It also bemoaned the decline of ethical and moral values in modern-day living, and in rare occasions also expressed serious views on major political changes. It was one of the only comics to present an air of nervousness and fear during the handover to China following the Sino-British Joint Declaration of 1984. Although it should be noted, over the years, that perspective changed to a slightly more positive view. Crazy influential character in Hong Kong pulp culture.
Yeah.
Master Q has been adapted into film and TV no less than 15 times.
Okay.
The most popular versions include the live-action 1976 film Mr. Funnybones and the 2003 animated feature Master Q Incredible Pet Detective.
I see.
And the most recent one was in 2011. It's called Old Master Q and His Little Water Margin Tail. So again, maybe a little lost in translation here. So they're very sort of like simple slice of life comics. I've read a couple of them. They're pretty. I'd say they're probably most akin to something like Marmaduke. Okay. Just kind of like a very simple. Here, I'll show you one of the comics. I'll let you make up your own mind about it here. So this is a comic called Scare the Hair Out. And we can see Mr. Chin going into a haunted house, and then a ghost is scaring him. And then he comes out and he says, "There's a ghost in that house." And Master Q says, "I want to see it for myself." And when he comes out, Master Q, who is bald, now has full head of hair that is standing up on end, and the caption reads, "Oh, there really is a ghost." It's like a Marmaduke or a Family Circus.
Or like the original Archie comics.
Yeah, they're comic strips that don't really have jokes.
A joke, yes.
Or a punchline.
A kid will be entertained just by cartoon images.
Here's another one that I literally could not understand. Maybe you can make some sense of this. This one's called Abacus Pulley. So Master Q is working on a math problem here, and I guess some sort of boss figure comes over and says,
or a teacher.
Yeah. "What era is this? You're still using an old abacus. Toss the old thing. Use a calculator." And then Master Q puts the abacus on the ground, and the last panel is the boss doing some sort of splits onto the abacus. Does that make sense to either of you? I don't understand that.
No.
I probably
definitely lost in
I
translation.
probably picked the two worst Master Q comics to,
This is my first exposure to this character, and I gotta say, I can't make heads or tails out of it.
a little bit. Wait till you see the movie.
A little bit of lost in translation, I gotta say.
So, as I mentioned before, there have been lots of adaptations of this. A lot of them have been live action. Most of them have been animated. As we can see from Master Q 2001, this is a mix of both.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the Hong Kong equivalent of, do you remember that Rocky and Bullwinkle movie?
Oh, yes.
That's pretty much what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the easiest way that I can explain it.
Yeah.
I won't go too into depth about who made this movie, because it's all people that none of us are familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure people in Asia, these are huge stars.
Yeah, if this episode isn't getting banned in China already, then yeah.
So the writer and director of this movie is Herman Yao. He's hugely successful Hong Kong filmmaker of over 70 films, basically every genre.
Mm-hmm.
Known for his Troublesome Night series, which are kind of like a Hong Kong Tales from the Crypt.
Okay.
They're like a portmanteau of comedy horror type scenarios.
I was hoping Red Shoe Diaries.
He's also directed 2 movies about Ip Man. 2010's Ip Man, The Legend is Born, and 2013's Ip Man, The Final Fight. Although it should be noted that these Ip Man films have no connection to the Donnie Yen Ip Man films.
Oh.
Because I guess Ip Man is just a very popular subject to make films about.
He's like public domain over in
I
that
guess
part of
so,
the world?
yeah.
Okay.
Or what? Now, you know Ip Man, right?
He's like the Hong Kong Sherlock Holmes.
No.
No?
No. Not at all.
I just assumed public domain.
Yeah. Ip Man.
No, he's a kung fu guy.
He was a real person. He was he was a martial artist. He's had lots of films made about him, so he did lots of things, but famously he trained Bruce Lee. Yes.
Okay.
So he's kind of like a big figure
the
in
Hong Kong Sherlock Holmes.
which I'm sure does exist.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
There must be a Hong Kong Sherlock Holmes equivalent out there. The only other name that I'll mention, the producer and co-writer of this movie is Hark Soo. He's another filmmaker with a long celebrated career. He's best known for his collaborations with Jet Li as the writer of Black Mask and the writer and director of the Once Upon a Time in China series.
Okay.
He's also directed 2 Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
Nice.
1997's Double Team.
Nice!
And
the best one!
And 1998's Knockoff.
Oh. Of Double Team, or was that the name of the movie?
No, Double Team was the one where he teamed up with Dennis Rodman, and then they realized they couldn't go anywhere from there, so Knockoff is the one where he's teamed up with Rob Schneider.
Ah, I see.
Yes.
I would have just loved it if Jean-Claude Van Damme was in like a knockoff of one of his own movies.
I'm sure
has happened.
Oh, I'm sure he has. He's done enough straight-to-DVD stuff that I'm sure he just recycled the plot of one of them. So, thoughts, opinions before we watch this?
I've never been more excited for a foreign film.
Glad I could help.
Yeah, I am just exhausted, and let's just put fucking whatever on.
All right. We'll see you after the break. We won't see you after the break. I'm still not getting any better at this.
No, you're describing comic panels, and we have a visual component to our podcast.
It'll be up there. All right. We'll talk to you soon. We're not. I don't know, Jameson. You know what? Okay. No.
Let's get this shit over with.
Right now, I'm tired of it. We need to come up with like a good segue thing. Let's do this now. Let's do this in real time.
Buyer beware, you're in for a scare.
Okay. I knew it was a mistake to leave it up to you. All right. We'll catch you after the break.
Joke for all you fans out there.
God, that's right. We'll catch you after the break. See you then. And we're back. And I just need to take a couple of deep breaths to just sort of get all that wacky hijinks out of our system.
Damn right.
Oh,
damn right.
Hijinks ensued.
Man, you know how at the top of the hour I mentioned how I was a little exhausted, a little overworked, and a little burnt out? This was not the kind of movie to kind of relax my way into the.
You didn't want to watch?
This didn't help.
No?
This was unrelenting madness.
The hijinks was nonstop.
Yeah,
And I'm sorry to be like the dumb North American guy who can't speak like any other language, but we were operating with a subtitle, so I most of the times I wanted to keep reading to kind of pay attention to what was going on with the plot. But what naturally is the case, there's going to be like some lost in translation stuff, and this is like a comedy meant for kids, so like it's going to be zany anyways. But then you watch like the stuff that's happening on screen, and it just is indecipherable. There is so much like comprehension and focus and like paying attention to detail that I had to do that I just wasn't ready for.
Even if you were paying attention to the subtitles, a lot of times the subtitles were incomprehensible as too. Like it's about like 90% accurate, and then but whoever was just typing out the subtitles for this movie, every once in a while just gave up. Like every once in a while, a character will say something, and the subtitle is literally just 12 @ signs in a row.
Yeah. Or like, get away from me, bed, or like, ain't I got any rights?
Ain't I got any rights?
Yeah.
This is the one that really made me laugh. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, gosh, I already said in the intro the play-by-play of what the plot is, so really, we have more of an outline than we usually do.
Yeah, I mean, like the sort of like the broad strokes of the plot is there is like this young couple who get involved in an accident and they develop amnesia.
Yeah.
One who is a cop kind of falls in with some mafia people and he kind of like intercepts, or he gets into their organization and they kind of have him be in charge of training their henchmen, but he still like maintains a lot of like cop protocol. And the woman who is a school teacher kind of befriends like the cartoon characters in the movie. That's kind of like the broad strokes of the plot.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Not to mention her mother trying to get her to marry some random fellow named Charles.
Who we never meet.
Who we never see, It's, like, so much of this movie is just obviously lost in translation. That's what it appealed to me in the first place. That's why I decided to do it, just based on the back cover. I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. I wonder if the movie is as confusing as whoever wrote this back cover.
I wonder if this will all make sense in context of the movie.
It's much more confusing. It's far more confusing than... Okay, so... Oh, God, there's lots to talk about. You've got mostly a live-action cast interacting with these CG characters. Now, the first obvious question that I have is why? Just why? You know, because think about it for a second. There's been this has been adapted lots of times. Sometimes it's live action. Sometimes it's a cartoon. They decided to do both.
The blend,
and my big question is, why? Because they are human characters. So why do they need to be animated? I think the first thing that we really need to discuss about this movie is the reality of this world. How does this world make sense? Okay, so... super early on, these, like, 3 CG animated characters go to meet their creator. Alfonso Wong is in this movie. He is playing himself. And
interacting with characters he created.
Yeah.
It's like I mentioned, it's like a Stan Lee cameo.
It's a Stan Lee cameo if Stan Lee showed up in the beginning of the movie and then took Thor with him to go fishing and left Captain America and Iron Man to do their own thing.
Not only that, but they live with him and like they kind of get their orders of the day from Stan Lee and they kind of like depend on him for everything.
Because as far as I can tell, this movie is the only sort of CG live-action hybrid, but it feels like this is the second movie of another movie. It feels like there was a movie that came before this. If there was a movie that came before this that explained what these characters are doing in the real world and how they got there. We didn't, we're not privy to that information, because I don't know how they showed up. They just are here, and they're existing, and no one seems to find it weird that there are these like horrific monstrosities living among us, causing havoc.
The CGI world does exist.
Yeah. Does it?
Yes, in this flashback.
The flashback.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
He does.
So there are... Okay, but was that flashback inside his head? And was he in the CG world, or was... Was that a character? Because it's only these three characters
And the dog.
and a dog,
Yeah.
and one random dog.
And a soccer ball. That was animated too.
The only reason that so there's this so we're getting wildly off track. Okay.
Let's just say that there is like sort of a cartoon world, and then there's like the real world, Hong Kong, where just like maybe people just accept these guys as part of reality because it seems like all of reality in the real world is like pretty much a cartoon to begin with. So it's just.
Everyone's acting wacky. Everyone is
Everybody
over exaggerated.
Everybody can act wacky. There's that chase scene in the park where all the bad guy henchmen are like all riding on the same bike, and they're all kind of like acrobatically like balancing on each other's shoulders and everything.
You blink for a second and they're all in a human pyramid.
Cheerleader blockade.
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite moment of that is there's I'm jumping ahead, but I don't care. But there's like so there's like the main gangster, and then there's his second in command, Willie. And I love that character. My favorite sort of human being a cartoon moment comes. He's seeing like some stuff happen over here, and then he gets an idea, and there's literally like a light bulb with a smiley face above his head. He goes ding.
Yeah,
that was really funny. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That guy had really good. Comic timing.
I think I missed that.
I did too.
Because there's so much madness.
So I wrote down scene by scene what happens in this movie, but rather than refer to that, I'm going to refer back to the holy grail of this back DVD cover.
The only thing we have to go on.
I'm going to repeat what I said sentence by sentence, and we're going to see how accurate the movie actually was to it.
Sure.
Because there are a couple things that just straight up do not happen in the movie that are described on the back of the box. Okay, here's the first thing. Master Q and Potato fail the job interview in a school, then they go to find Wong for revenge. So that's not super accurate.
Not really.
There's no revenge at all.
No. He does, like, Master Q goes to a school to apply for a job.
Yeah.
And, he's just, like, such a bumbling, comical foul-up that, like, he doesn't get it on the first try. He foils a suicide attempt while he's there, though.
So, the start of this movie is the three animated characters trying to find jobs. Because they are not employed, even though they are...
kind of famous.
Famous cartoon characters that have been willed into existence in this world, yet they still find that they need jobs. And they constantly talk about being broke and hungry, even though they apparently live with the man who created them.
Who seems to be doing quite well.
And yet Potato is a neuroscientist somewhere.
Well, he says that.
Yeah. Can we take him at his word, really?
I feel like we could. I mean, he did a lot of good quality triage in that hospital.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about the beginning of this movie, let's talk about one of the weirdest things. Lots of weird shit happens in this movie, but the first 5 minutes of this movie, probably one of the weirdest goddamn things happens in this movie, and it's really never explained. So, as I was saying, there's sort of like the central trio of these characters. There's Master Q, and then there's Potato, and then there's Mr. Chin, and this is confusing because Wikipedia says his name is Mr. Chin. The front DVD cover calls him Mr. Chun, but in the movie, they call him Mr. Nobody.
Yeah.
So I don't know who the fuck this character is.
Well, Mr. Nobody is right because, like, he's gone for most of the movie.
That is apt.
Yeah. So for someone who's like, what's this all about? Oh, it's about these three characters. The third guy, the guy who doesn't appear to have much of a personality, just kind of fucks off with the creator, and they say, we're going to go to the top of this mountain and we're going to go fishing. Oh, but there's no fish in that mountain. I don't care, I'm going anyway. And then they go, and they're not in the movie. They're not in the movie.
I think they did that? Because early in the movie, he, like, puts on a Hitler disguise.
Yeah. Let's talk about this.
And this is, like, their way of saying, like, ooh, he's gotta take a sabbatical. It's like when they write a character off out of the show because, like, the actor has, like, some real-life controversy.
I cannot fathom what goes on in this scene. So, Mr. Nobody, in the opening of this movie, this is our introduction to this animated character. He appears to have secured a part-time job as like a park supervisor. It's like an assistant.
Yeah, sure.
Sure,
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
And then...
And two ridiculous-looking gangs, like, come to, like, scrap in
the Rufio Squad.
The Rufio Squad!
Green Rufio Squad and Red Rufio Squad. I love these two gangs.
Yeah, rival gangs show up on this football field. They start fighting. They're being watched by the film's villain, Mr. Cam, who is sitting in his car with binoculars going, whichever gang wins, the other gang I'm gonna recruit to my boys or whatever. But that's so, and then...
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
These two gangs start fighting, and then Mr. Nobody or Mr. Chin, whoever the fuck this guy is just like off on the sidelines, and he's just going, oh, they're fighting! Oh, they shouldn't be fighting! Oh, I'm gonna call the police! Oh, I'm gonna be helpful! And again, we're Westerners. We don't know anything about this character. Everything I've read about this character...
This is my first introduction to this character.
This is my introduction to who this fucking guy is. I haven't narrowed down what his personality is, what he's all about. He starts going off on this speech, seemingly to no one, about trying your hardest, or whatever, and then, out of nowhere, he does a Hitler salute. He moves his head slightly, and then all of a sudden he has a Hitler mustache and the Hitler hair. That's it.
That's it.
The gang doesn't actually pay any attention to them. The gang violence is broken up by an unrelated third party. He doesn't do anything to stop this situation. It's just a moment where he's given a Hitler mustache, and it's unmistakable. He is literally being Adolf Hitler.
He hiles. He hiles real good.
He hiles the fuck out of that scene. All right, now I want to tell you both a story. So when I got this DVD, and the first time I watched it, the first time I put it in, I was transfixed, as we are currently right now, by the DVD menu. I'm like, we really got to talk about
we
this
left
DVD
this thing
menu.
looping.
Okay, so I was like, wow, look at this. But I have to play around with this DVD menu first before I do anything. And then I guess what happened was, instead of going to play movie, I went into chapters, and I'm like, okay, I'll start the movie. I'll start the movie now. When the movie started playing, it didn't play from the beginning. It started me off with the scene where the student is trying to commit suicide. So I couldn't, and when it started playing, I'm all like, oh, this doesn't seem right. It seems like I've missed the beginning of the movie. So I went back, and I swear I spent like 5 minutes trying to figure out how to watch the beginning of this movie, and I couldn't figure it out. So I'm like, okay, maybe something's weird with this DVD. So I just went from that scene on, and then I watched the entire movie. It took me to the end of the movie, I went back, and then I figured out,
that's the start of the movie.
Here's how I start the movie. Okay, now I'll watch like this opening scene. So, from my perspective, I was just going, wow, that third character kind of disappears and he doesn't really get much to do. That's kind of odd. So imagine my surprise.
No, that's by design.
When I went back to the beginning, and that fucking Hitler thing showed up. And I'm like, oh,
that's probably a good reason why he's not
all right. I don't know. Is it so? They fail a job in a school.
I mean, like, we want to even talk about why the kid's committing suicide? Because the teacher, the lady who winds up getting the amnesia, like, she gets like these love letters or Valentine's Day cards, and she's a real bitch about it.
All the students are in love with Miss Chung. Gets all these love letters,
and she's like this is.
This is highly inappropriate.
This is highly inappropriate. Like, I can report you all to the headmaster. Like, shame on you for using, like, emojis instead of actual, like, letters and whatever.
I don't know. Again, lots of lost in translation.
Yeah, and so the kid who writes the letter is heartbroken, so he tries to kill himself. And is prevented by the cartoon guy when he gets blown out of the headmaster's office somehow.
Oh, the chemistry thing.
He's doing chemistry to show what he's capable of. And it prevents
he prevents the kid from falling off the building, but then the master Q is all like, oh, hello, and he bows to Miss Chung, but then he sends him flying off the building anyway, and the only reason the kid doesn't die is because he grabs on to like a girl's
neckerchief or
yeah,
something.
and,
Or
and it
ascot.
looks very painful for her. She's not having any fun.
And that's how the scene ends.
And
that's the big laugh that we end on.
And like many scenes in this movie, it just ends.
Mm-hmm.
It just ends and we're on to the next stupid thing.
Yeah. This was a very hard movie to watch because like the cuts are so jarring. So much happens so fast that it's really hard to keep track of.
Right.
And like, we're like reading the subtitles, so like we're trying to keep up, but then like, something outlandish happens on screen that you just cannot follow. Yeah.
Alright. So now that that's all out of the way, let's move on to the second sentence.
Yeah.
I mean, and even this is wrong too. Okay, so they go to find Wong for revenge. They don't go to find Wong for revenge. They go to ask him for money or a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it says, Wong has already retired, so he gives Master Q a secret pouch. He doesn't give him a secret pouch, he gives him a secret box.
Yep.
Yeah.
So not even that is right.
Yeah.
That really has nothing to do.
Yeah, and it plays like no like factor into the plot whatsoever.
No.
Like even at the end
Even at the end when it's revealed what's in that doesn't
yeah,
have
it's like, Deus Ex Machina that's gonna save the day, and like, nah, it's a check.
Yeah.
They literally, they
Fuck it up anyway.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. The secret box that their creator gives them has a check for $10,000 in it, which they abruptly destroy and has no bearing on what's going on in the plot whatsoever.
It wouldn't have solved like the central conflict or anything.
Okay, so our two young lovers, let's call them the protagonists.
Yes.
For lack of anything better. So,
the ones with like an actual plot going on in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, several plots. So our main cop, well, the box calls him Fung, but the movie calls him Fred. So yeah,
Probably for us.
I mean, that's the other thing too, is whoever's writing these subtitles is like, I'd better Americanized up the names, but like anyone like us who's watching this we've already resigned the fact that we're watching a movie from Hong Kong. You don't need to fucking speak down to us and call the characters Fred and Judy or whatever.
There's a character named Potato, like we're suspending our disbelief enough already, alright? Like, Jesus.
So Fred is a cop, and Miss Chung is a teacher, and they're in love. She has like an evil mother who's a district counselor who I guess doesn't talk. No, she doesn't talk to her mom because she's changed jobs.
Yes.
So she's trying to escape from her evil mother. But we find all this out through context clues.
Yes.
The movie doesn't take any time to explain any of this. We don't figure this out until the movie's almost over.
Yeah, until we realize, like, near the end, like, the mother's evil.
Yeah, she's awful.
Yeah, she is trying to marry her daughter off for, like, some money scheme of some sorts, and once her daughter, like, gets, has her memory loss, or memory lapse, she takes advantage of that, and she gets her to sign this contract of binding her to a marriage. And then the mother is always threatening lawsuits if they are ever in breach of this contract. I know for a fact that contract signed under duress or not sound state of mind is void. So, or maybe it's different in Hong Kong, I don't know.
Maybe it's different in the weird cartoon universe that we've established. Like, this movie does not take place in reality.
No.
Clearly not.
No.
So the setup for them having lost their memories, Fred breaks up the gang fight in the beginning. And Uncle Cam is all like, we gotta kill that guy. So he gives Fred's photo to Mark the assassin.
Yes, Mark. Who has many
Omer's favorite
guns.
character. But then, before the assassination can be hired out, we go back to the gangster, Uncle Cam's house, and Uncle Cam has invited a psychic?
A fortune teller?
A fortune teller over.
Yeah, he had a crystal ball and an assistant who wore like a treasure chest on her back.
And over the course of this fortune teller coming in, so Cam has like a bunch of photos of Fred on his desk, and as the fortune teller is setting up his crystal ball, one of the photos falls in between the crystal ball and whatever the platform the crystal ball is in.
So when he looks into his crystal ball, he sees Fred.
The fortune teller is all like, this is your lucky man. Like, it must be. And
Don't
then,
kill him, yeah.
Don't kill him, and Uncle Cam is all immediately like, no, we gotta go get, I mean, like, the reasoning behind it all.
It's probably good to point out that Don Kim, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Don Cam.
Don Cam. He's kind of stupid.
That's the other thing! Hold on.
All the main principal gang bad guys are really fucking
I
dumb.
gotta refer to the back of the box again, because he's Don Cam.
Yeah.
But the box says,
Uncle
Cam,
Right.
a celebrity.
What?
A celebrity. He's not, I guess, in the terms of the fact that he's a crime boss, he's a celebrity. But again, there's probably an easier way to get that across.
I've never seen a movie where it portrays henchmen who are kind of dumb and dim-witted. Like, I've seen that like 100 times. But I've never seen one where, like, the mafia boss guy is also dim-witted.
He's the stupidest one of all.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's a big cartoon character, and he's surrounded by cartoon characters. And even there's even like a rival crime boss at the very end that you kind of think, oh, now we're finally going to get the intimidating villain. No, he turns into a cartoon as well.
Yeah.
So they're all just wackiness from beginning to end.
Yeah.
The cow trench coat doesn't really speak to his intimidation.
I get, my theory for that is like, I want to get like a really tough leather jacket. Like leather comes from cows, so like, give me a good cow jacket.
I don't know.
That's my theory.
I don't know. I feel like if there's one thing I know, Omer, is that you're really up to date on your Batman villains. I imagine like there's probably like a mob boss out there that's Vinny the Cow. You know, it's all like he could use that to his advantage. You know, he could like off people in like cow related ways. He could like instead of cement, he drops them in milk, and then it hardens around them. And
you haven't really followed
like
Batman since the Adam West Batman, have you?
But like, I'm just thinking of, like intimidating people with non-intimidating names.
Yeah.
There's like the Flamingo, who is an assassin who also eats people. It's all like, oh, not the Flamingo. The Flamingo is terrifying. You don't want the Flamingo showing up.
Pig is a lot more.
Professor Pig.
I know Professor Pig. Yes.
So Uncle Cam calls Mark the assassin to
call up the hit
to a public gazebo.
Yes,
it's not because there's like this big thing was like you're not answering your phone or your pager or any of this, so you need to come to this public gazebo.
Yeah,
and as he's in the middle of this public gazebo,
we interrupt this like gang intrigue kind of storyline by our two fucking cartoon characters hunting birds in the park.
They just so happen to be trying to shoot sparrows out of the sky with, I guess, pea shooters.
Yeah.
And one of them hits Don Cam in the head. Master Q and Potato are mistaken for assassins.
Yeah.
A wacky chase happens with gangsters on a motorcycle, and it results in a truck crashing, a whole bunch of
milk crates or whatever.
Well, milk crates filled with empty water jugs falling off, and that's how Fred and Miss Chung lose their memories.
Yeah.
And we're finally at that point. It felt like it took us an hour to get there, but we're finally at that point. This is 15 minutes into the movie. I mean, there's so many implications of that scene. The one thing that I was waiting for was, because it all seems like a big misunderstanding. So Cam gets hit in the head with their rock. They're just
the pea shooter,
the pea shooters or whatever. And I kept waiting for it to be like a misunderstanding, like, oh, there's jam in my face. But it's like, no, that was just straight up blood.
Yeah,
there was just blood gushing down his head.
Yeah, bandaged for the rest of the film.
For the rest of the film, yeah, they must have hit him hard. And the other implication is that they're just like a couple of homeless cartoon characters hunting birds. And there's this moment where they have like a plastic shopping bag, and it gets confused with Mark the Assassin's plastic shopping bag, which has his gun in it.
Yeah, we should point out that like the cartoon characters have a shopping bag with like all their dead birds that they shot down already. And then there's a switch up and they get it confused with Mark's gun, like from the crime scene.
But there's two questions I have about that. One, what assassin carries around their gun in just a nondescript plastic shopping bag?
Well, they're clearly disposable if he has that many of them.
I mean, you do want to get rid of the gun after you shoot someone, but you don't need... But it seems like he carries it from job to job in the shopping bag. Not even like inside his coat. He's holding it by the handles. That's not how a trained assassin carries their weapon around.
That's how Mark does it.
Mark the Assassin. I love that.
That's my favorite.
It actually is funny because it's like a pun.
Yeah.
Because of Mark. Because
This
it's
is
Mark.
the-
It's his Mark.
The target should have been named Mark.
That's
then.
clearly
Yeah.
the joke that they were going for.
So-
but the other assumption is that these are cartoon characters walking around being wacky. They just got a bag full of dead birds.
Yeah.
That they killed. Like fucking Jeffrey Dahmer or some shit. Like that's a weird thing to do. Like...
Yeah, like, it's weird for me to imagine these guys as beloved cartoon characters for children.
They're beloved.
Yeah.
They are a cultural cornerstone of Hong Kong pulp culture.
Yeah, and at one point in the movie, they beat up kids.
They beat up kids. They have like a scene where they go to get like Chinese hot pot and they talk about diarrhea.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Can you imagine fucking watching Rocky and Bullwinkle? It's just like, Bullwinkle, don't eat that off the ground. You'll get diarrhea.
Oh boy, now here's something I hope you really enjoy.
I just love the bit where the creator goes to him and tells him that, no, don't kill yourself. Death will devalue this home.
Yes!
That was such a good line.
There's a couple of funny
Death will
lines.
devalue this
Again,
home.
we're not gonna, I mean, you've probably figured it out by now. We won't really be including audio clips from the movie into this because they're all in a different language and there's not really anything to
You really gotta go by the subtitles and take our word
It's a
for
very
it.
visual medium here.
So they get to the hospital and there's like the mix up and like, oh my god, the hospitals were like almost where max hijinks ensue because like these cartoon characters just kind of waltz into like any kind of professional environment and people are like, who are you guys? Like, why should we listen to you? But they never tell them to leave. You know, they just kind of like barge their way and they cause a ruckus.
Yeah.
And people are like, what are you doing here? Like they just set up all these bits.
Yeah.
But at no point do they get like thrown out anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone just kind of tolerates
Everyone
their bullshit.
tolerates, and there's no reason to tolerate them.
Yeah.
That's perfectly exemplified by the scene where, so they go back to the school.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, sort of quasi-kidnap Miss Chung from her evil mother.
Yes.
And they take her back to either their house or their creator's house. We're not really sure. We think it's their creator's house.
Yeah.
If they don't, I mean, like, if they don't live with, they have clothes there.
Yeah.
So I guess they live with him.
The
But,
just looks adds up.
Yeah.
so yeah, they take Miss Chung back to their place, and then again, it's a very weird. Okay, yeah.
Well, now they figured that like, okay, there's an opening at the school, so let's apply at the school. And as it turns out, there's a couple of vacancies.
This is a really
There's a 4.
this is a really weird joke because it feels like a gag that they gave up on almost immediately.
Yeah.
So Miss Chung's like, I don't know, I've lost my memory, I can't go into work, and Master Q and Potato are all like, we'll go into work for you tomorrow because we need jobs. And then they go back and they talk to the headmaster, and
who's really playing like mix and match with the teacher roles.
You feel like this headmaster should be playing the archetype of like, oh, this is outrageous. He kind of seems just like an easygoing guy.
Yeah,
He
so
doesn't really do much.
So Miss Chung, no one's heard from her. I guess 2 other like teachers, like Colin's sick or whatever.
Weirdly enough,
Yeah,
just to
conveniently
just
enough.
to complicate things for
So he calls in the janitor and says like, hey, you teach gym now because like the gym teacher didn't come in. They're like, well, now who's going to clean the floors and like who's going to teach like this Miss Chung's class? And that's when Master Q and Potato show up and he's like, you go.
He says, okay, Master Q, you can teach Miss Chun's class. Potato, we only have one opening now and it's for a janitor, so you go be the janitor. Why not just make the janitor be the janitor and Potato can
Go teach gym.
Because the comic possibilities behind that are endless.
Yeah.
But no, I've already sent the janitor to teach
he's already
gym.
halfway there. I can't call him back now.
To be fair, I guess it's like he probably took a look at Potatoes.
You look like garbage. You should be around garbage.
I trust you more as a janitor. But yeah, so there's this big setup for like this extended gag where Master Q is teaching all of these students. He walks into the classroom, he takes attendance, he makes a really lame joke because one of the students' names is James Bong.
Bong with a G.
Bong with a G.
In case that
and
didn't come
he says, that name is too long, we'll call you 007. And it's like, funny?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like, Miss Chung shows up in the classroom.
Miss Chung shows up. And it's like, okay, I guess we're not doing the bit where Master Q is teaching the class. I don't really know why we needed that setup.
But they didn't bother rewriting the scene.
No, they didn't. It was very pointless. Much like the majority of the scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
Completely pointless. Yeah, and then going back to what you said about them finding themselves in situations where people should be mad at them, but they're kind of just like, meh. So, okay, Potato is the janitor now.
Yeah.
And he's cleaning the toilet, and Master Q comes in and says, no one's gonna give us credit for cleaning the toilet if they don't see that we're cleaning the toilet. So they dismantle the toilet, and then they go to clean it in the headmaster's office. A random teacher comes in, she gets mad at him, but when the headmaster comes in, he's all like, I'm not mad at them. He's all like, well, if you're not mad at them, then I quit. He's all like,
There's
fine.
there's the door.
Fine. I don't care. There's this weird, unspoken, unseen animosity between this teacher that we just have to assume because the movie doesn't spell it out for us. And then after she leaves, it's kind of all like, you shouldn't be doing that. Go fuck off or something. Yeah. But it's like, that was weird.
He really wanted to get rid of her.
I guess he really wanted to get rid of that teacher.
She's redundant. I fucking love that.
When they're
she's redundant. Yeah,
that's the excuse he gives.
Yeah.
Oh, finally.
Oh,
she's
there's
redundant.
a lot of...
She's redundant. She's my wife's cousin.
Yeah.
I hate her. She's redundant.
A lot of bluntness in the dialogue.
And then, since we're on the school, we're jumping around a bit, but since we're on the school, let's talk about, do you want to talk about the dance number?
Oh,
well, I think...
The inexplicable dance number?
I was going to say, like, the next two things on the agenda are the dance number and the soccer game.
Soccer game was
the soccer game that goes on for God.
Yeah.
the CGI ball.
Yeah, so...
Hold on. There's a soccer game.
Well, like,
hijinks ensue. That's it.
Well, we got...
There's a dance number. Hijinks
All right,
No,
so
sorry.
Remember we were talking about Fred and how he's kind of been like... So with him being... having lost his memory, he gets recruited into Uncle Cam's gang organization, where he's in charge of training, like, the new henchmen. But even though he doesn't remember his life as a cop, he still remembers, like, cop procedures, he still respects the law. So, like, he's training these henchmen to be almost cops. Much to the chagrin of Don Cam. So what happens is, like, there's like a truant or whatever. Like, some kid didn't have, like, his ID card, which must be, like a student ID or whatever. So they go to arrest him, I think.
Yeah. No, they're not...
And what they do then is Miss Kim, who doesn't remember that Fred is her boyfriend, says, like, you can't, like, he's just a regular kid, he's my student. Tell you what, like, we're on the soccer field, we'll play you for the right to, like, take this kid.
For the right to have this kid. They weren't going to arrest him. I think they were trying to force him to join the gang.
Maybe that's it, yeah.
But they were
Ownership,
doing it during police. I don't know, because all of this happens within the space of 30 seconds.
Yes.
So I don't know what the situation is.
Yeah, and before you can catch up, the fucking soccer game starts, and then it's just like, quick cuts and madness and everything.
It spends a long time on the soccer game as well, too.
And the random referee was quite good.
Yes. The comical referee who keeps getting hurt over and... Yes, our delightful comic book heroes routinely beat up women and children in this movie.
And a dog.
And the
dog.
They kick a dog.
But the dog was animated, so it was okay that the dog
because,
got
like, they couldn't find a trained dog that'd be willing to get kicked.
Yeah.
And also barf out a half-eaten cartoon cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Oh, they just, all the while, they never stop referring to Fred as officer either.
Yeah. And it's like a weird in-joke. On the one hand, he is an officer, but everyone doesn't know that, but they're referring to him. Yeah, it's a weird, again, it's a weird,
and whenever
thing.
And whenever they encounter a cop, the cops are like, oh, you must be undercover. Oh, you're like our super important guy. Like, let's give you like all like the space and like leeway you have. If he was a cop and he still has like all these like cop instincts, don't you think he could connect the dots a little bit?
Oh no, he never connects the dots. No one connects the dots because it's all misunderstanding. It's all just like a bad... There's like I don't even want to spend a lot of time talking about this scene because it's really pointless and it goes nowhere, but the entire scene where they're in the cop station and they're in the room and they're talking to the teacher and she's all like, that guy's following me, and everyone's all like, well, he's undercover, so something must be going on. It's just a bad Abbott and Costello routine.
Yeah,
it's just that comedy of one person says one thing and then the other person assumes something, but they're not listening to what they're actually saying, and it just goes on and on and on, and it really above everything else just drags this movie.
But they
down.
really thought they could. Yes, but they really thought they can get a lot of mileage out of this. Is a cop who doesn't remember he's a cop.
Isn't that funny?
They have a lot of fucking bits about that.
Almost exclusive. That's his entire character.
Yeah, there's the one scene where like he goes along like I guess on a ride along with like some. Or he goes to pick up some, like, diamond thieves or whatever.
Yes.
And then he's involved in a police chase.
Well...
And the cops track them down.
Well, what happens is Uncle Cam told him to go pick these guys up.
Yeah, getaway driver.
He didn't tell him that he was going to be the driver in a getaway. Oh, but there's no reason for you to omit that information to him. You have taken him on but
like as the police are chasing him, like he's like, oh, it's the cops, like I should pull over, or like, oh, why are the cops shooting us? They're supposed to protect the people, and then the cops apprehend him, and there's sort of a standoff between the robbers and the cops, and it feels like to me like a scene out of The Departed. And it gets kind of serious because it's the only time in the movie where those fucking cartoon characters are never seen.
That's right. There's like
there's 5 fucking minutes where they don't show up and like run into a tree or something or like slap each other silly. There's something worth paying attention to here, but this character is stupid and this plot makes no sense.
So okay, I think this is what happens. So, Uncle Cam knows Fred is a cop, and he initially wants to kill him because, as a cop, he stopped him from getting more gang members. But then, the fortune teller told him, this is your lucky guy. So it's like, now we gotta go be friends with the cop. We don't really have a plan, but we're gonna try anyway. And on their way to get him, the accident happens, they go to the hospital, they overhear that he's lost their memory. Uncle Cam's like, now's my chance. He goes over and says, hey, I'm your godfather, I saved your life, come with me. But he never gets around to explaining to the amnesiac Fred that he is a criminal.
Yes.
He never once says, I'm a criminal and this is my gang and I want you to train my gang. He's very vague about it. Even though, since Fred has amnesia, it would be really easy to just say, you're also a criminal. And he'd be like, okay. Yeah. But for some reason, he never tells Fred that information, which is where all the misunderstandings come up. But it's
all the comedy comes from.
All the comedy, Just tell him. Just tell him you're a gangster. Yeah. And then that would solve every problem. And also, if you're going to hire someone to be the wheelman of a robbery, tell him he's the wheelman. Don't, let that just happen.
Or if he's displaying like these unsettling traits where he's like training people to be cops and still respect the law, send somebody else to be the getaway driver.
Also, can we, and since we're talking about like weird shit that makes no sense in relation to Uncle Kid, we talk about the scene. So there's like the scene where he's just recruited Fred to join his gang. He goes to like this community center where all of these other criminals are. There's just this really weird moment. We saw like, hey, everyone meet Fred. Everyone come up on stage. I want to give a speech about like my new godson Fred. So he gives a speech to all of his cronies, but he asks all of his criminal underlings to come on stage with them.
So he's speaking to a near empty room, like only the caterers.
Only the caterers. It's like I want to say something to all of you, all of my criminal.
Actually, like, everybody get up.
You know what?
You're all part of this. Like, get up here.
Get up here. And then the poor wait staff are just like, should we applaud? Let's applaud. We should applaud, right? It's very.
I mean, if that was intentional, like that's kind of funny, but like I wouldn't put it past this movie that was just like some oversight. Okay, now we can talk about the dance number.
Okay. Right. So there's like a weird sort of truce that happens after the soccer game between the gang and the school kids. Yeah. And they all get together in this community center to put on a show / show this wealthy benefactor an old important painting.
Yeah. I thought he was the superintendent.
Well, I don't
know who
I think
he was.
I blinked for half a second and I missed the line of dialogue that explained what was going on.
It looks like a school dance or like a Save Our Community Center kind of like event because like the gang members show up with they're the bands. They're the fucking bands.
Why were the gang members part of it?
I don't know. Well, because like Fred's starting to either he's starting to remember that he was in love with Miss Chung, or like now as like an amnesiac, he just has like a crush on her now. And
what's so weird is the placement of these scenes, because there's the scene with the dance and the full song with everyone dancing and doing 3 different kinds of choreography all at once.
Yeah, some of them are like dancing well, some of them are just stand here and like don't bother the
But
dancers.
then the scene, during that scene, it appears that everyone's friends and everyone's worked out their differences.
Also, 6 potatoes exist in that scene.
Yes. He's on stage jamming out on the guitar. He's on the dance floor. He's like trying to fix the painting that he breaks.
We don't need to, we don't need to explain everything. They're cartoon characters. They're working within cartoon knowledge. But the scene immediately following this is Fred getting like weirdly possessive and then stalking Miss Chung in his car. Or, as the back of the box tells us, after that Fung stalks Miss Chung, everybody. I love that sentence. No
Everybody
punctuation.
wank Chung.
No punctuation. Just, it's very, very odd. Where are we?
So at one point, before we kind of get to our last act here.
Are we that close already?
I mean, like, dude, I'm getting there.
Get out of my house.
Let me sleep, goddammit. There's a part, like, in the creator's apartment,
sure,
where, Master Q and Potato are talking to Miss Chung about, like, why don't you go with Howard? Like, Fred goes by Howard when he's amnesiac. And
that's
she's
right.
Like, and, like, it's, like, really kind of complicated them, and she's like, don't you know what love is? And the movie kind of slows down for half a second. Mm-hmm. Master Q, who is just like this off-the-walls Daffy Duck-esque kind of character, kind of gets like sunken face, and so like storms out of the room.
It's the weirdest tonal shift.
And we find out...
This is a character... I'll let you go on, but like this is a character who has been bouncing off the walls from the second we've met him. For like an hour straight, he has not stopped moving.
Yeah.
He has not stopped gesticulating. When there's like a moment of silence, he like pulls out swords and he shoves them down Potato's throat for some reason. And in this one moment, it's all like, don't you know what love is? It's just a close-up on his face, and it's 10 seconds of him just being crestfallen.
Yeah.
And like, then he storms out of the room.
And I gotta say,
weird.
like
it's so weird.
Because we're watching the subtitles, it's really, as I mentioned, it's kind of hard to kind of pay attention to what's happening on the screen. Like, they are terribly animated. They are not animated that well. Yeah. But like, in that moment, like, that's as close as you get to like, Pixar quality.
That's
like,
the most
character
definition they added to this.
So we kind of peel back like a little bit of backstory on him, and we get to know about like his heartbreak, which takes place in that animated universe.
Yes.
And we get to meet his unrequited love.
His horrifically terrifying CGI. It's hard to describe what the women in this cartoon universe look like. Yes, she's meant to be pretty, but she's really not.
What stood out to me was, so those guys, as much as like I'm like giving them shit, they are on model to like that guy's.
Yeah.
Like,
they look like they look like the cartoon.
Yeah.
They don't look good in live action
or 3D, but they look like how they're supposed to.
They do. They look like how they're supposed to be drawn.
That lady was created by a different artist. She was made by like the 3D animators.
Yeah.
Like someone on team who was like, the guy's never like drawn a woman in his life. You got like, if you got like some old like 3D model you want to throw together or use in this movie, go right ahead.
She was terrifying.
Yeah.
Those goddamn shoulders.
I'm looking at the progression of the scenes. We have jumped all over the place, but it really doesn't matter. Okay. So, Cam figures out that Fred is in fact not his lucky charm. He is his unlucky charm because he's been getting progressively hurt over and over again since he got him. I mean, again, here's another like weird setup that's never explained. It's like shown early on that Cam likes to show how tough he is by walking on a bed of broken glass. And then there's like an offhand thing where one of his goons is all like, oh, scoop up that fake glass. Oh, we gotta get that fake glass back in there. But then later on, Cam jumps on the glass again. He's all like, it's real glass. And they're like, how did they get to real glass? They actually don't explain.
Yeah.
How did they get real glass there?
Luck. Just...
If it seems like there should be a scene where, I don't know, Potato is dicking around or something and he breaks something and he spills glass everywhere.
That's a little too logical for this movie.
Right, yeah, exactly.
There's no deleted scenes, am I wrong in that?
Oh, there might be.
Oh god.
Let's not find out.
Let's not see what didn't make the cut.
Let's not spoil the vision that this director clearly wanted to have with this movie.
But yeah, so they go to like the harbor with the plan of like, go into, like, hey you, Howard, go and deliver this bomb to Shang.
Well, he doesn't know it's a bomb.
He doesn't know it's a bomb.
Because he wants to kill both him and Shing at the same, Mr.
Cow Jacket with the bomb.
Lenny the Cow.
Yeah.
Is what I'm going to refer to him now as.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and so Chung has this key. She has this key to her boyfriend's house, and she doesn't remember who her boyfriend is, but she remembers enough that she knows that her boyfriend gave her a key to somewhere.
Yeah.
So, oh god, yeah, we got to talk about this apartment!
This is
one
of the actual important
Someone
parts.
else set this up.
Okay. So,
it isn't important
all right,
at all,
so
but it's
now remember, like the evil mother is trying to wed her off to Charles, But she doesn't know Charles. She just knows she has this mystery key.
Billionaire.
Yeah, she just knows that she has this key to this that her boyfriend gave her, so she's going to go check it out. With the help of her two cartoony friends, she tracks down his apartment number, and they open the door to the apartment. And this is supposed to be like the big revelation where it's revealed a lot about her past.
Yeah.
Who wants to describe the very first thing you see when you walk in the door?
So the apartment is filled with photos of the two of them, which is what you would assume it would be filled with. It jogs her memory. It's like, this is who I am.
Yeah, like a hanged picture or a cute one on the like there's a few on the nightstand.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is a photo of the two of them.
That's very nice.
It is the first thing she sees. However,
there's some other stuff.
The photo in question of the two of them, instead of being hung on the wall or in a frame on a desk, is being hung on a life-size mannequin in the middle of this guy's apartment, and on the head of this mannequin is a mask of, I'm going to say...
One of the Teletubbies.
No, it's Dipsy.
Sure.
It's the green one.
Yes. The Dipsy the Teletubby.
So it's got you got a Teletubby head, and it's just in this guy's apartment.
Yes.
What is that?
The pillows where he compiled composite images of their future children is what really got me.
Yeah, they're all their pillows and blankets are big blown up pictures of both of their heads, and the nightstand has a picture of their faces badly photoshopped over the Addams family with other children as
They went to one of those cute little stores. It's all okay, yeah, we'll take the poster of this movie, but we'll superimpose your face on it. The movie they chose, it's not we won't pick, I don't know, Titanic or
Gone with the Wind or whatever.
Or Gone with the Wind. No, we'll pick the Addams family and we'll put our faces on all of the Addams family.
Now,
and it's just a sight gag, but it's so weird. And again, once you start thinking about it, you realize this was his apartment before he lost his memory.
And she may have never seen it since she just got this key immediately before the amnesia.
That's right. That's
and
right.
up until this point, she thinks that this is a crazy stalker guy.
Yeah.
And now she's walking to an apartment where he has pictures of their future children and massive pictures.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But you're right. She shouldn't put it together.
She thinks this is
a
a creepy, crazy stalker guy, and now she walks into a room full of evidence. Go back to the cops, lady.
No, but this is the moment where she realizes, oh, it's my boyfriend. This makes perfect. Oh, Teletubby.
Yeah.
Oh, of course he's my boyfriend.
It was him all along.
We've been together for years. How did I not remember?
No, I just wrote my notebook. Holy shit! Get out of this apartment.
Then again, in any other movie, she would walk into an apartment like that and go, oh, this man is a serial killer, and then run away.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, she goes to the apartment with two fucking cartoon characters. So you can understand that the line for what's acceptable and what isn't.
Yeah, what's logical and what isn't.
Blurred at this point.
So, because of that, she storms to... I guess she somehow knows that those guys are going to go to the convention center to blow up a mafia guy. Why?
I don't know how she knew that. She just went straight there.
Oh God, Jameson! The realizing. I guess she realized she didn't.
Not only did I realize that was my boyfriend, I got a homing beacon on him.
It was the inhale in that made me. So, why?
Well, because as I mentioned, I'm quite tired. But as I was saying it, that thought had crossed my mind.
No, there's no reason for her to go, because they get into another wacky car chase where they steal a taxi, cause countless property damage, aren't
almost kill a guy
at all, almost kill several people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they ran over the guy instead of the kid.
Yeah.
Or the carriage or whatever.
Yeah, to avoid they swerved to avoid a carriage and they knocked over a guy on a ladder painting.
That's right. There's so much public destruction happens in this movie. I got that confused with the scene where Master Q is fighting all of the goons, and we as the audience see them as goons in suits, but then it cuts away and he's beat up. Again, he's beat up women
like
and
a
children.
family, yeah.
He's beat up like women and children. It's it's just, they're menaces.
Mm-hmm.
They should be
absolute
locked
monsters.
away. If you can, in fact, lock away a cartoon character, I don't think you can. I think... I think we're living...
They will literally tunnel out.
I think this world is hell.
Tunnel.
Yeah.
I think they're living in hell, and I think every day is just endless torment for all of these people.
Sounds like modern-day Hong Kong.
They're... political! Oh!
Maybe these are political cartoons out there.
Oh, boy.
Whew.
Yeah.
You want to dig us out of that hole
No.
that you dug for us, Jameson?
I'll leave that for you to edit out.
I'm sure I will.
Yeah. So she makes it to the convention center, and
It's not even a convention, it's just outside.
just outside.
Just a random pier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she stops the weird Mexican showdown that Fred has with Shang, and through some comical happenstance, courtesy of the cartoon characters, Shang winds up on the boat where Uncle Kim and Willie were overseeing, waiting to detonate the bomb, and then
immediately starts beating them up, even though within the logic of this movie,
he doesn't know they're trying to kill him.
He doesn't know there's any sort of plan to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even know where they are. He's just shown up here to get a gift, and then all of a sudden this woman showed up, and then these living cartoon characters showed up out of nowhere, and all of a sudden he's flying through the air, and he's on a boat, and his old protege is there, and his first instinct is to just start beating the shit out of him.
Yeah. I don't even remember how he got it.
No, I don't either.
I just know Potato was involved
somehow. Just watched that
Potato
movie.
was on some type of what was he riding?
A scooter.
It was a scooter.
So it was on a razor scooter.
Headbutted him, and he flew.
That's right.
Sure.
Okay, now that makes sense.
Yes.
And then, how does he get his memory back? How does Fred get his memory back?
He sees the photo.
He sees the photo. Right, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so Fred he's training the gang, and he has a little sidekick. And his sidekick is only, known by a number.
Yeah, 12138.
Yeah. He has this best friend in the gang, always at his side. He's, you got it, Chief, no matter what. And we even kind of soften up to this character, because he starts off as a thug.
And he's kind of the cartoon characters, and he helps out with the band. And
he gets but he gets a little bit of plot development. We see him kind of endear himself towards Potato. There's a scene where they're in a bar, and someone tries to sit on Potato, because Potato's really small. He's all like, hey, don't sit on my friend Potato.
He calls him his friend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This random character gets a little bit of definition. And as soon as Fred gets his memory back, he's all like, hey, what's going on, boss? Who the fuck are you? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. And he pushes him off screen, and that's the last we see of that character.
Goodbye, Rufio Prime.
It's so abrupt.
Yeah.
It's so abrupt. It's all like, the fuck are you? Fuck off.
Yeah. I don't know. I have just been your very loyal, very strong and intimidating, and I imagine good in a fight kind of guy. Now you've betrayed me.
So the movie ends. As abrupt as everything else.
The only loose end is the contract.
The
marriage contract.
The evil mom somehow gets tricked into getting hold of the detonator for the package, and she's all like, haha, you'll never not marry who I want you to marry. And then she hits a button, the package explodes, far away from anyone, so it's not
it got loose in the fight.
It was harmless.
Nothing important exploded.
Yeah. I mean, it would be an explosion enough to kill a person holding the box, but it didn't look like it destroyed the side of a building or anything.
But then we immediately cut to a newspaper, footage. I don't read Chinese, so I don't know what it said. Do people from Hong Kong speak Chinese, or is there a different language?
Mandarin?
Is it Mandarin?
Well, there's Mandarin and Cantonese predominantly, and there's probably dialects there.
Okay, whatever language that is.
You don't speak it,
It's kind of just like the assumption, because of an explosion, the evil mom got her comeuppance.
Yeah.
But because it's all told through newspaper headings, so we actually don't know how the movie ends.
I just assume she's a terrorist.
I like the headline, the freeze frame of her, just looking at the explosion, what the fuck was that?
Well, even the phone
flew
into her hand magically.
And after it explodes, the two of them kind of go you're
in it.
And that's the resolution of the movie.
Like, what?
And she's kind of like, I don't know what's going on.
It's like you fell for a prank, but you don't quite get why. You should feel like an idiot.
And then our final scene, we catch up with the creator of these monstrosities on his mountain, trying to fish.
Mr. Nobody comes back, apparently reformed from his, fucking Hitler stint.
He's a Taoist.
He's a Taoist.
He's a Taoist monk now. And then the creator catches a puffer fish, but then it walks away elated, but then it's revealed that Mr. Q and Potato are in scuba gear, and they put the fish on as a gag, and then a big Looney Tunes The circle appears out of nowhere. The three of them pop their heads.
Like, that's all, folks.
And they say what I'm sure must be their classic catchphrase.
Damn right.
The last line of this movie is the three horrifying cartoon characters looking directly at us, and they say, damn right.
Damn right.
And
Damn
really,
right.
what more is there to say? I kind of agree with you.
Yeah.
Damn right indeed.
Like, if there was just, like, maybe a half second where I could have been like, that didn't make any fucking sense to me whatsoever. Damn right it didn't.
Damn right. Can you imagine just...
Welcome to Master Q, dickhead.
We getting a sequel? Damn right.
Damn right you are, you son of a
We're
bitch.
gonna get like a ton of them. None of them are gonna be like this. I'm just imagining, again, because it's the closest example we have, just like, imagine if like the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie ended like, oh, we've tied up the bad guys, and they just turn to the camera and they just go, fuck you!
Show's over, get the fuck out of here. And that's the movie.
Was there anything else that we wrote down that we haven't mentioned?
There's two things I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
There's a scene where, I guess trying to get her memory back, Master Q tries to hypnotize her, but in like that classic comic scene, he winds up hypnotizing the other person who's
hypnotizes her with a stopwatch.
Yeah, but he only hypnotizes Potato, where he goes into like one of those dazed trance and he starts recounting his own personal history, and we find out that he's been abused by Master Q his entire life.
For years.
He has no hair because Master Q pulled all of it out. He's short because he sat on him like every day.
Since he was 7.
This is all canon. This has been
all
there
canon.
since the 60s.
Yeah, and he says my favorite line in the movie, he loves farting.
He loves farting. Yeah.
And the way that the subtitle timed up perfectly with Miss Chen laughing, with the subtitle saying he loves farting. Kaz, you gotta get me that picture somehow.
I'll try my best. I liked that scene because after that scene, she kind of like locks herself in her room and is like, oh, boo-hoo, I've lost my memory. And Master Q and Potato trade off with, let's say like encouraging things to her. They both play, like, alto saxophones.
Yeah.
And when one of them is talking, the other one is playing, and then when the other one stops talking, the other one starts playing. Mm-hmm. That was just legitimately funny. I actually like that quite a bit.
That's a good bit.
I'll give them that one, yeah.
I would not, like, think that was that would be, like, perfectly in place in, like, The Naked Gun or something.
Yeah, totally. Every once in a while, there is a gag that is actually pretty funny. You got anything, Omer? Anything we missed?
I think we've covered it here. I mean, we've got the color-coded Rufio gangs. Calling out the love note to the teacher was creepy as all hell. And she was so cruel.
Yeah.
Was she, or was she just a good like, you're not supposed to write love notes to your teacher.
No, but I imagine...
Especially at that level.
She demanded, like, you answer to me now so I can ridicule you properly.
Yeah. I mean, like, I've had, female teachers who, like, if, on Valentine's Day, like, you give a Valentine to the teacher. Maybe it's just a North American thing. But she's like, you guys are like, oh, that's very sweet of you. Back to the lesson, whatever. She's a real hard ass about that sort of thing. Like, non-stop disciplinarian.
But then yet she just shifts gears as soon as she loses her memory, defends that child with all...
Yeah. Was that the same kid?
Yeah, it was the same kid.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. The suicide kid was the same one that was...
okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. Good wraparound to that.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, Omer, Jameson, would you recommend people watch Master Q 2001?
Not sober.
Were we too sober for this?
I was like nursing a beer through it and like doing my I'm kind of sleep deprived, so like I guess I was like as close to being intoxicated as I could. Not really.
No,
I mean like even
there wasn't enough there to kind of just be all. I mean,
it's just
this is a different culture.
It is just
it
is unrelenting madness. So, like, maybe, like, if you speak the language and you're into these kind of comedies, maybe that's how comedies are made in Hong Kong. I don't know if it is, like, even, like, a legit... what can I compare this to? Like, Space Jam or Who Framed Roger Rabbit or something? Like,
sort of.
Like, is that, like, in that vein? Like, I don't know if it holds a candle to either of those.
Everyone knows for a fact that they are cartoon characters, and they are in the real world somehow, even though only one character in the entire movie actually says, oh, I read your comics.
Oh, yeah.
And that was confusing, too. Yeah, we didn't talk
And
about the character.
And she tortured them after that.
Yeah.
I love you, you're great. Now I've got
The only
Yeah.
person who like really recognizes these characters as like comic book characters is the mother's assistant. We first meet her in the hospital when they're visiting Miss Chung, and she says, "Oh, you're Master Chiu and you're Potato. Oh, I loved you guys. Like my grandparents had your comics. I grew up reading you guys. I love you.
I love you. I'm evil now."
Yes, that's the last bit of nice. Everything else, she is Miss Corporate Stunt, like toe the company line. Like we're going to sue you for breach of contract, you son of a bitch. I thought she would be like, you know, a nice, like, she would help out the characters in the end.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm watching too many North American movies.
Possibly.
They don't pull any punches.
Yeah, this is a hard movie to recommend. I mean, like, it's definitely, like, it's not even, like, remotely close to any of the other movies we have covered on this show before.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's purely just like a curiosity. I mean, the only reason I bought it is because, well, look at this thing!
Because
Look at how weird it is!
Yeah.
Of course I had to buy it.
That's worth a buck, yeah.
I needed to see, the show's called The Fuck Is This? I needed to find out what the fuck this was.
Yeah.
And now we know.
They saw you coming a mile away.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot from that Black Dog $1 box. Yeah, a lot of those movies are going to end up on this show at one point. But
I can't wait.
there we go, a little bit of a history lesson, everyone. We took an eye to what people in Hong Kong do watch as pop culture. I'm sure this is huge over there. We're probably not getting all of the nuance. There's probably somewhat, because I'm sure we're reaching the Hong Kong market right now. I'm sure people in Hong Kong have nothing better to do right now than to listen to us. Listen to this podcast. There's nothing else
to take the wind out of these pop culture icons.
Omer, thanks for being a guest on the show.
Thanks for being here, man.
Do you got anything going on in your life that you want to tell people about? Or barring that, what is something you're really into right now? Something nerdy? A TV show, a movie, an album that you love? Just anything you want to recommend to
Get the
people?
word out on.
Honestly, I cried like a little baby after reading the most recent issue of Batman. Tom King's run is just phenomenal. And it was, I don't want to spoil anything, but it was just a scene of the whole issue was just a scene of Batman grieving over, I'm not going to say
So
more
someone
than
dies?
that,
Thanks, Omer. Thanks for that. Someone dies in a Batman comic? Thanks a lot, man.
It's not the Waynes again, is it?
No.
Oh.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool. Jameson, you are the slave to work right now. Are you doing anything cool?
Well, I will be, I did this last time, but I will plug the game that's coming out in December.
Continue to do-
Play MechWarrior 5. It's come along awesomely. We all work super hard on it. It's available on the Epic Game Store. If you enjoy the sound, thank me for it. If you don't, you can blame me for it. And as far as things that I've been into, you know what I watched recently? Dolomite Is My Name.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, I kind of liked it. I don't know how accurate it is to I think it was one of those biopics that really kind of highlighted the good. Because this is a guy whose nightclub acts were around, pimps and the inner cities of the time.
Well,
but I thought Eddie Murphy was really good in it.
He was great.
He was fantastic in it. He didn't sound like him, but I think he got the mannerisms right. And I think it's a really positive, uplifting story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Were you familiar at all with Rudy Ray Moore before you saw that movie?
I have, yes. I mean, I've seen the Human Tornado.
I haven't seen it. I'm very interested to go actually watch some of his movies now. After seeing that, I know they took some liberties with it. I know that they kind of combined two of the Dolomite movies.
Yes,
into one. What I will say,
I know for a fact there is one scene that is from the Human Tornado.
Yes,
yeah.
But I will say, I agree with you. That's a great movie. People should watch it. It was so nice to see Eddie Murphy and Wesley Snipes have fun. In the movie. That looks like the most fun they have had in fucking decades.
I forgot.
They look like they're having
I forgot how awesome Wesley Snipes is.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a really good movie. I agree. I'll jump
a good
on
message of just one person closes the door on you, find another door, find another avenue for yourself. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying anymore.
That's fair enough. Fair enough, yeah. Since we're on the Netflix train, I just finished watching season 2 of Castlevania.
Oh,
You seen that?
That is top notch.
That is great. If you have not seen that, I think that is one of probably hands down one of the best video game adaptations. Period. Because it feels they capture the essence of what it's like to play a Castlevania game, but there's also a really interesting story. They spend a lot of time on the villains.
Oh, yeah.
The villains get a ton of backstory and character development. It's really, really fascinating. Great characters. Peter Stormare. He's like a Viking vampire that's running around just ripping people's throats open and then like screaming his own name.
Perfect for Peter Stormare.
Great.
Yeah.
It's great. I love the hell out of it. It's awesome. I recommend people go check that out. All right, great. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'm going to remember to do this time. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at the F Is This Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at, what is our Twitter handle? TK This.
Whatever, man. I think it is. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah. And to close off this episode of this podcast, because we are a Canadian podcast, it would be amiss if we did not acknowledge the passing of John Mann. Spirit of the West. So we finished our beer, but we're going to raise our glasses. It's very sad. We kind of knew that one was coming. It's kind of Gore Downey all over again.
Yeah.
But a lot of great tunes, a lot of great music tied to Canadian identity. Thank you, John. I know, especially in this community, in this Vancouver theater community, he actually was friends with a lot of people. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you all for listening to the podcast, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.